let's start with the quarterback position and quarterback Jay Cutler. And I thought his performance was really, really good on Sunday. It was really solid, and I really, really liked it. He looked really good on Sunday overall. Previewing this game, I said he really just needs to let the game come to him, because this, in my opinion, and I still stand by this is by far the most talented offense this man has ever been on. All-around offense between the line out. From starting from the line out, it's the most talented offense he's ever had. And I thought he had a really good performance. He really did what I thought he needed to do to win this game. He just let the game come to him. He managed the game. I thought he did a tremendous job of managing the clock, managing the pace of the game, really dictating the pace of the game. Especially in the beginning of the game, where he really was going fast, and he's so good at that no huddle offense, and you can really see he knows this offense like the back of his hand. He really, really, really knows this offense, and that allows him to really dictate the pace of the football game. And I thought he did a tremendous job of that. And time of possession was a huge point of emphasis going into this game, and I thought he did a really good job of that, especially in the first half. Our first drive took 6 minutes off the clock, and that's basically unheard of for our offense almost all last year. We didn't ever do that. Most of our touchdowns were big play touchdowns, and we never took that amount. Rarely last year did we take that amount of time off the clock. So I thought he did a great job of managing the clock, and I thought he just did a tremendous job managing the football game, hitting his targets when he needed to, and he made plays when he needed to. When Jay Cutler he made plays. I mean, he didn't just Alex Smith it and manage the football game. The touchdown to Kenny Stills. That's Jay Cutler. That's something Jay Cutler has always done well his entire career. His pocket presence is insane. He's got great football instincts, and that was on full display on that play. He just steps up into the pocket, beautiful, rolls out, finds Kenny Stills wide open in the end zone for a beautiful touchdown. I mean, that was a really long throw, and he made it look like it was like a 2-yard throw. I mean, that thing got to Kenny so fast. It was a beautiful throw by Jay Cutler. And, that wasn't the only, play he displayed great football instincts. Obviously, when he rolled out and he found Devontae Parker across the middle of the football field, it ended up being pass interference anyway. But he found him and he hit him right in his hands. It was another great throw. And another great play where he gave DP a 50-50 ball over Casey Hayward. And we're going to talk about Devontae Parker here in a second, but I thought Jay Cutler did what he was supposed to do to win this game. And I thought not only did he manage the game well, but he made big plays. He looked like a franchise quarterback on Sunday, and I think this is the Jay Cutler we're going to get for the rest of the season. And I hope this is the Jay Cutler we get for the rest of the season. He was efficient with the football. His ball placement was amazing. He got the ball out of his hands quick. The pocket presence was on full display. He managed the clock well. He dictated the pace of the football game. He did everything you would want a quarterback to do on Sunday, and he looked amazing. He took care of the football. He didn't do too much. He wasn't forcing the ball at all. And that's exactly what we need from him. That's exactly what we need from him. And he did a tremendous job on Sunday. So let's talk about the linebacker position. I thought they did okay. I thought they were very serviceable on Sunday. There were some things that they need to clean up. But it was really nice to see Chase Allen get a start, especially since he had a tremendous preseason leading the NFL in tackles. And I thought he had for his first game, an undrafted rookie, on the road against the Chargers, against a Hall of Fame quarterback in Phillip Rivers, and a Pro Bowl running back in Melvin Gordon. I thought he did awesome. I mean, I thought he did really good. I thought he did what he was supposed to do. And, something that I noticed is, especially with the linebackers, our gap assignments, it's like a night and day from last year. We did a tremendous job of really getting into our gaps. There was only one running play where we did it wrong, and I think it was on Kiko. He really kind of messed up there, was on the running play, the draw play to, I can't remember the running back's name right now, number 32, I think is his number. That was the only time that it was a draw play. I can't remember who did it, the running back, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. That was the only time they really missed any gap assignments. So I thought the linebacker, especially against the run, I thought they did a really good job. But there were definitely some shortcomings in the passing game. I thought Mike Hull was probably the biggest reason for that. He really struggled to get out into the flat and make tackles in space against Melvin Gordon, and that's something. I mean, we kind of knew that this is how it was gonna go. Obviously, Lawrence Timmons wasn't playing for unknown reasons. I think something about they were personal reasons. I don't know. I'm not even gonna speculate what that was. So if Lawrence Timmons was in that position, I gotta believe that he makes those plays in open space. Chase Allen didn't start at middle linebacker. He started on the outside. He started on the outside. I can't remember exactly if it was right or left right now. I think Kiko switched back and forth from middle and outside at times. But I thought Chase Allen, again, I thought he'd had a really good game for his first game in the NFL, going up against a Hall of Fame quarterback in Phillip Rivers, going up against a Pro Bowl running back in Melvin Gordon. Had a really good game, especially in the trenches. When he was supposed to make a tackle, he made a tackle. He didn't let anybody get by him. So I thought Chase really did a great job for his first start in the NFL, especially as an undrafted rookie. Kiko Alonso, he had some busted coverages, but all around, I thought he looked better in the running game. Again, his assignments, the gap assignments with the linebackers, it's like night and day from last year, and that really allowed us to have a successful day on defense. And that's something that the Chargers and everybody in the NFL really tries to do. Since we run a wide 9 defensive line, they really like to exploit the middle of the football field. Now, a lot of that had to do with Sue, because Sue had one of his best games as a Dolphin, but the linebackers really just didn't miss their assignments in the running game, so that really allowed us to dominate it. And I thought they did a very good job, a really good job in the running game. Passing game, not so much. So, all around, good day for the linebackers. It was very serviceable. When you look up at the scoreboard, it's 17-19, and it seems like the Chargers scored like at least 50 points the way they were moving the football. So it wasn't as bad as it seemed to be on Sunday, because it really doesn't feel like they only scored 17 points. It really doesn't. So the defense did their job. They only allowed 17 points. But obviously they got a little help from the offense as well. But specifically with the linebackers, I thought they did, again, a decent job overall. Really good job in the run game, not so much in the passing game. And I thought they did a really good job considering we were one man down in Lawrence Timmons. And I do think that they showed depth out there. And I really like what Chase Allen did his first NFL game as an undrafted rookie. Going up against this offense with Phillip Rivers commanding the huddle and constantly changing plays at the line of scrimmage, I thought he did a really good job. All right, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins' big three: Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills, and Jarvis Juice Landry. So let's look at their stat line. They really had a great game to kick off the year. Devontae Parker had 4 catches, 85 yards. He averaged 21 yards, and his longest was a 31-yarder. Again, 85 yards to kick off the year against a really nice secondary for the Chargers. Obviously, Casey Hayward. I think he made the All-Pro team last year. He obviously led the NFL in interceptions. I mean, that's really high competition to have 85 yards on, and on 4 grabs especially. Jarvis Juice Landry's stat line: he had 13 catches, which is just out of this world. He had 78 yards. He averaged 6 yards a catch, and his longest was 18, and that was after the catch. And then Kenny Stills had 2 catches for 37. He averaged 18 a catch, and he had 1 touchdown. His longest was obviously the 29-yarder. So, again, all 3 of them, great first game. They really dominated a really good secondary, and you really saw on full display Adam Gase utilize all 3 of them in different ways and really utilize their talents, and that was really fun to watch on Sunday. Our team is really fun to watch, and I'm not to brag or whatever, but it's really fun to watch because all 3 of them are so different and they do so many things great differently, and they're so versatile in that way that they're so fun to watch. And as a play caller, it's got to be fun to call plays for them. I mean, Jarvis Landry, the things that he ran on Sunday was really fun to watch. Obviously, DP, mossing people, and Kenny Stills with that smooth route running, and scores that touchdown with his speed. So all around, a great day for the big three. To really kick off the year. All right, let's talk about the secondary for the Miami Dolphins, and obviously there were a lot of question marks from fans going into this game. There were some question marks in the secondary. Obviously, Nate Allen's a big one, probably the biggest one throughout the entire secondary, and I'm including corners and safeties in this conversation. Obviously, it's a secondary, but. So, I thought for a first game, I don't know. I thought it was okay. I didn't, some individual performances I thought were better than others. Byron Maxwell really, there were some plays where I was scratching my head like, what are you doing, man? There was a play, 2 plays that really stand out to me that just don't make any sense. There was a very crucial third, and it was like a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 4, somewhere in that range, and it was late in the 4th quarter. If we stop them here, we really get to flip field position, and our offense is going to get great field position, especially since we have a great return man in Jakeem or Kenyon. Pick one. They're both outstanding returners, right? So we have a chance to flip the field, and this could really decide the football game if we get them off the field or not. So this is a huge down. Obviously, fans are sweating. It's a really, really, really crucial down in this football game. So Phillip Rivers has a stacked receiver. He has his receiver stacked to his left in like a trips formation, right? And he motions, I think it was Keenan Allen. He motions Keenan Allen over. Somebody has to follow him. Nobody does, because there's one corner on the other side, and that's Byron Maxwell. So you would expect him to pick him up. So who motions with him? Rashad Jones does, because there's also a tight end on the other side, so somebody has to pick up both of them. And a weird thing that rarely ever happens in the NFL. And I see it sometimes, but in this particular situation, it really doesn't make any sense. So as a safety, you usually guard the tight end. You never guard a receiver. Obviously, you're the safety, and if you're in man-to-man coverage, usually the safety takes the tight end. So Byron ends up taking the tight end, right? Which is weird. And then Rashad is like, pre-snap, not even the ball hasn't snapped yet. He's super confused. It looks like he's signaling switch. Byron never, it literally looks like he's ignoring him, unless Rashad wasn't talking to him. Maybe he thought he saw him. And I don't know what happened right there, but obviously there was no communication on that play. And then Phillip recognizes it, hikes the ball, and there is nobody on Keenan Allen because of the miscommunication. That can't happen, especially on a crucial play. And this is something the Dolphins defense suffered with last year, was busted coverages. The one that scorns Dolphins fans in memory is the 4th down against the Seahawks on the road, where it was a complete busted coverage. Nobody knew who was supposed to take him in zone. Similar thing happened on that play. Thank God on the next 3 downs, we got him off the football field. But again, that is something you cannot do in that situation, is have those miscommunications. And Byron Maxwell needs to do a better job of telling. He didn't tell Rashad anything. You should have told Rashad, listen, I'm going to take Hunter, you take Keenan, that's it. And that did not happen. So miscommunication there. And another play that I thought was weird is Byron did really good. Hats off to the Chargers for this, because this was beautifully designed. They move, I think it was Tyrell Williams. So Byron had him on the outside. They moved Tyrell into the slot. And Byron, obviously not an experienced slot corner, so I'll lay off a little bit here. He plays soft coverage in the slot, which is a huge no-no if you are a slot player. You cannot play that. You can't give that much cushion you're playing a quick receiver. You're playing a quick, fast receiver. You can't do that. And then so they ran a deep crossing route over the middle, which is something that I knew we all knew that they were going to do, because they did it last year against us, and it was wide open. And it wasn't Byron. It was just bad technique there, and it wasn't like after the snap bad technique. It was pre-snap bad technique. He should not have done that. He should have been closer to the line of scrimmage. So just weird things from Byron Maxwell. That was just simple stuff. It wasn't physical anything. It was just mentally. It just wasn't there. For the secondary as a whole, and for Byron Maxwell especially. So that's the biggest gripe I had with the secondary. Biggest gripe I had with an individual player was Byron. Is just, I don't know where his head is at sometimes. It just doesn't make any sense. Just stupid stuff like that does not need to happen, especially in crucial downs in the game. All right, so when you look at Rashad here, he had a really good game, and this is his first game, obviously, returning as a Dolphin. He had 5 solo tackles. He had 6 in total. He had 2. Never mind. But I thought he had a great game in coverage as well. There was one play where he barely missed the pick. He went for the pick instead of really hitting the tight end as he caught it, which probably would have been incomplete anyway. I would risk it there. Usually a coach would tell you not to do that, but Rashad, he just went for the pick and barely missed it. This was the final drive of the game. So you guys probably should. It was the first play of the final drive. It was a first down to the tight end, and he almost picked it off. So I thought I think that was Rashad. Yeah, I thought Rashad had a really solid game, his first game back. Nate Allen, he had some good things and some bad things. Obviously Nate Allen, big question mark going into this game, how he would perform. And I thought he struggled in man-to-man coverage, especially on tight ends. He really struggled against Hunter Henry. In any kind of coverage, whatever you want to name. He really struggled against Hunter Henry. There were a couple plays where he let up big plays, but there was a particular play It was on 3rd and long, and it was literally him and Travis Benjamin. And you always kind of tense up as a fan when you see something like that with a safety one-on-one with the receiver, because that's a tough play to make as a safety. And he made a tremendous play on the ball. He knocked it down. So there is some good and bad with Nate Allen. I thought he did it. It was an okay, solid performance from Nate Allen. Again, there were some bad things there, but his stats, really nice stats. He had 3 solo tackles. He had 2 assists, 5 in total. He had 2 tackles for loss. No, excuse me, no, he didn't. And he had obviously one pass deflection. So I thought he had a pretty solid game. When you talk about Xavier Howard, he had a nice game. He had 6 solo tackles. He had 7 in total. I thought he did. There were some plays where maybe he's shaking off the rust because he hasn't played in a while, and he was going up against a great receiver in Keenan Allen. But I thought overall he did okay. I thought he did a good. He probably had the best performance of a corner of the game. Obviously, Cordrea was inactive, and so was Torrey. But I thought he had the best performance. I thought he looked good. So overall, as a secondary, they have to clean up this miscommunication. They were not only on that play, and with the entire defense. Again, if Lawrence Timmons was out there, I have to believe that stuff is cleaned up. Because he is the leader of the defense. He is the vocal leader of the defense. Kiko's also, I mean, I thought, Kiko should have, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, you got to believe that Lawrence, if he was out there, he is the leader of the defense. I have to believe some of that busted coverage stuff gets cleaned up. But overall, I thought the secondary needs to clean up the miscommunications in the back end. It's got to stop. We saw it in preseason. Saw it again this regular season. It's tough. Trust me, it's tough. It's not easy to play Phillip Rivers, and he's constantly changing things at the line of scrimmage. And as a secondary, you're talking like, hey, we got to do this, we got to switch. Kiko was calling out different calls. He's audibling. So it's tough when you're going up against Phillip Rivers, but you just can't do that stuff. And there was just some bonehead plays. So as a secondary overall, didn't have a great performance, and most of it was due to miscommunications. All right, let's talk about the group that probably had the best overall performance out of any Dolphins positional group, and I'm going to combine the two here. The running back and the offensive line. So one running back and then the entire offensive line. So Jay Ajayi had a tremendous game. This is his first start for an opener of the regular season, I'm pretty sure. And man, was it a doozy. He had 28 attempts, so 28 rushes for 122 yards. He averaged 4.4 yards a carry. His longest was 20. He had 120-plus yard run, and he had 0 touchdowns. Not Jay's fault. I think some of the play calling was really, really weird. Not weird, because if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it were me, and I think if it was every other Dolphins fan, I would have lined up under center and really pounded the rock and tried to get Jay into the end zone, because they really couldn't stop him. They couldn't tackle him, and especially in that fourth quarter where they're getting wore down, they're tired. And I thought Jay definitely should have got the ball a little bit more in the red zone. But other than that, not Jay's fault, obviously, but I thought Jay had a tremendous game. Not only did he look powerful, but he looked really fast and quick. He showed off some of his elusiveness with that spin move. He had 2 spin moves, which he's utilized a whole lot in his career, if you think about it. One on Joey Bosa, and the other one, I can't remember who it was on, but it was for a first down. So great game by Jay. He looked nice in the receiving game as well. Caught a couple passes, and it looked a little bit more natural for him, especially comparing it to last year. It's night and day. Jay's first start for a regular season opener, I thought was really, really good. 122 yards, and dude, I swear, man, he's gonna be he's right now, in my opinion, especially with that performance, one of the best in the league, top 3. I don't understand how you can't put him in that top 3. So let's talk about the O-line, and obviously there were some questions with Ted Larson being out, and obviously Anthony Steen getting the start on the offensive line, and then obviously he actually got switched out a couple times there. I thought tremendous job by Mike Pouncey. What a game he had for his first game back in a long time, and just the entire offensive line dominated. What a game Juwan James had, by the way. I think he had a better game, in my opinion, than Laramie did. And Laramie had a great game as well, but there were some miscommunications there. Obviously, he led up the sack to Melvin Ingram on the goal line, and that's probably the only reason I would put Juwan over Laramie, because they both had tremendous games. Don't get me wrong. They both had great games. But just a really good game by the offensive line, especially in the running game. They punished the defensive line for the Chargers, especially in the interior, which was the biggest question mark, was that interior. Was with Mike, obviously, Jake Brendel, Jesse Davis, Anthony Steen on the other side. Pick who you want. And then on the other side, that they have Jermon Bushrod. They were dominant in the running game, and they were really dominant in the pass protection as well. Like, seriously, great job by them, especially Juwan James. I mean, you gotta take a bow for that performance against not letting a sack up to Joey Bosa that is not a small feat. And Laramie wouldn't have let up a sack either if it wasn't for miscommunication. So not all on Laramie as well. So tremendous performance by the offensive line. I thought the only individual bad performance, not even a bad performance, it wasn't a bad performance, but some bonehead plays here and there, was Jermon. He had some holding calls that really cost us, especially in the red zone, that you got to clean up. You just can't do. And really, they're ticky-tack calls. I mean, they weren't obvious holding calls. It wasn't, like, atrocious. So that's super nitpicky. But overall, a great performance by the line, and hopefully we can keep these guys healthy, because they performed like one of the one of the best units in the NFL, especially the tackles. And Mike Pouncey was flying around. So great performance. And if I had to give my MVP for the game, it would be to the O-line and to J.J. So great performance by them. All right, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins defensive line. I thought had a tremendous performance on Sunday, really dominating the line of scrimmage in the running game, which was obviously a big question mark. Is it finally going to get fixed? I thought they did awesome, really neutralizing Melvin Gordon. Definitely shut him down the first half, and did a really good job in the second half as well of just really neutralizing the running game. And I thought Sue, as an individual performance, probably some of the best defensive tackle play you're gonna see all year. I mean, just a tremendous performance. He really dominated the interior. He was just moving people out of the way, and he had a just what a performance by Sue. And oh my God. And then you look at William Hayes, who had another. I think he had 17 snaps and he had 1 sack, which is awesome. He had 4 quarterback pressures, which is amazing. So what a game by him as well. Andre Branch, I thought did a decent job of rushing the passer. Cam Wake really didn't take that many snaps in that game. He really wasn't I don't know, it was weird. I felt like he, I would have to look at the numbers, but I felt like he didn't take that many snaps. Really weird. But obviously our depth at the defensive line is so much better than it was last year. We replacing him with, Will Hayes or Charles Harris. Really take your pick on that one. And they did a really good job of, not replacing the presence, but did a great job as well. Wake did get pressures though, but I just felt like he could have took more snaps in that game. And then obviously in the interior, when you talk about players playing next to Sue, Devon Gottschalk, I thought he had a really good his first rookie game, really was disruptive, and especially in the running game. He had one play where he just blew his guy off the line, so he had a really good game. He keeps being consistent, and he was being subbed in and subbed out as well. And I liked it. I thought, when Devon was in there, he did his job, and I thought when Jordan was in there, Jordan did his job as well. I'm surprised that I'm sitting here talking to you guys about how I have really no issues in the run defense at all. So great game by them. And the pass rushing, I could see some fans could say there was something left to be desired there. And I guess the argument against that is Phillip was getting it out of his hands so dang quick. I don't understand. Like, it would be very hard for some of those pressures to get there. Like the touchdown to Antonio Gates. Like, there were some plays where people almost got there. It just, Phillip got the ball out of his hands really quick. And again, when you play a Hall of Fame quarterback like Phillip Rivers, like people don't understand. Some of the biggest plays in that game were all Phillip Rivers, like the fake screen, like all of that kind of stuff, like that's all Phillip Rivers. So the defensive line, I know some fans might feel like there's something left to be desired there. Maybe they wanted to see more sacks, more pressures, but you can tip your hat to Phillip Rivers in that game. He really did a great job. So not the defensive line's fault in terms of sack production. They still got a lot of pressures. They still got they forced some throws there, especially at the end. So they had a really good game, and obviously the 1 sack with William Hayes and Sue sandwich there. So great game by the defensive line, and hopefully they can consistently play like that throughout the entire season in the running game. Because if this is what they're gonna, and I think the idea of really subbing out Jordan Phillips in Gotcha and really keeping Phillips' motor going is a really good idea, and it really worked on Sunday. All right, let's talk about the offense and their overall performance on Sunday. Let's start with the tight ends because I feel like I didn't really talk about the tight ends. I thought they did a really good job. I thought Anthony Fasano did a tremendous job in terms of run blocking. He had a really good day run blocking. I thought Julius Thomas did an okay. He had an okay performance. I wouldn't call it bad because he definitely put up some good numbers, and I thought he did his job well. Julius Thomas had, I think he had, okay, here we go. He had 26 yards on 3 catches. His longest was 11. So I thought he had a pretty okay performance there. So the tight ends, really, really good, especially since it's a new room. It's a new look tight end room with Julius Thomas and Anthony Fasano. They had a really good game back. Julius had a good game as his first game as a Dolphin, and Anthony had a really good game coming back home and really good game blocking. But overall, as an offense, I thought we were super conservative in terms of play calling the entire game, not just the first half. And some people were like, oh, it's because Jay Cutler and because, he's rust. No, it had nothing to do with that. I think it had more to do with the pass rush and us being on the road than anything else. I think the crowd noise and their pass rush was really strong, especially at the end of the game, where there was a super conservative call on 3rd and short, or 3rd and medium, where we could have kept moving the ball, ran the clock, and really closed out the game, and Adam called a screen to Jay Ajayi, a swing pass screen. And the reason he did that, I was watching the game at home, and it was, the crowd noise alone was so loud, like my speakers, it sounded like they were going to bust. So you can understand why Adam was so conservative there. Because you don't want to bust it in pass protection, you don't want somebody coming through and it being a sack, and now you have to go for it on 4th down, 4th and long. This is for the game, and then you have to go up against their pass rush again. So you understand why he was so conservative to set up the field goal there. And in hindsight, it was the right move. But in my personal opinion, I would like to be a little bit more aggressive there. Because if their kicker hits that field goal, as fans, you would look back on that play and say, why didn't we, just do a more traditional play and try to pick up the first down? So, I thought we were super conservative on play calling, especially in that first half, and I think it had a lot to do with, Jay was getting the ball out of his hands quick. There's reasons why most of those passes were short. It's because, and I don't think it had anything to do with Russ, I think it was because of the pass rush of the San Diego Chargers to help neutralize Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram, and it worked. But in the second half, we opened up the playbook more, and I thought our tackles did a tremendous job blocking them. But overall, as an offense, I thought it was a really, really good day. I thought we moved the football on a consistent basis. The time of possession was obviously way better. And I thought, as an offense overall, I thought we moved the football with fluidity and with chemistry, and they looked really nice. I thought the pace was nice, the pacing was nice, everything was nice. I thought that we moved the football really well. But in the red zone, we really struggled to finish. And that was a theme throughout the game, because if we lost the game, I think the reason why we didn't win is, in my opinion, was because we just didn't finish. We didn't finish drives. In the red zone, our red zone efficiency was terrible in that game. We need to score touchdowns and not settle for field goals. Our team is too talented. And I think it had more to do with the play calling, because, in that situation, I would have loved for us to pound the rock instead of passing it on first down and then pound the rock. Run the ball on first down, see what you get, then run it again on second down. Obviously, we were dominating in run. Our line was dominating their line in the run game. So I don't know why we didn't run the football and really fed Jay in the red zone, who's a monster, a little bit more there. So there were some wonky calls in the red zone, and I think that's what it did. And to Adam's credit, I understand you throwing a fade to Devontae Parker. It's understandable. I mean, the man was on fire. So I understand the play call, but you also have a beast in the backfield that Jay Ajayi can just pound it in, and we've been dominating. It doesn't have to be Jay. It could have been Damian. It could have been Kenyon. I think the red zone, other than it was less on the players and more on the play calling. And I thought Adam, for some of the faults there, I thought Adam called a tremendous game, because, again, as a coach, in that third situation where do we gamble? Do we try to pick up the first down, or do we go super conservative, throw a screen, and just get some 2 yards and then kick a field goal, and then really try to win the game with our defense? There are so many ways that could have went wrong, as an offense. Again, the crowd noise, maybe it's a blown pass protection, someone comes in clean and sacks Jay Cutler. Or there's nobody open and you have to throw the football away, and then you possibly, if you lose yards there, you have to go on 4th down again against a great pass rush. So in hindsight, it was a great call. But again, super conservative game plan going into this game, and I think it had to do with the fact that the pass rush of the Chargers, and I think it had a lot to do with us not. Again, I think it had a lot to do with rust. I think we just call it a lot of short, simple stuff, easy stuff. Some of it had to do with rust. So overall, I thought it was a great day on offense. I thought we moved the ball with fluidity. I thought we had chemistry. We just needed to finish. If we lost the game, I think that, again, the number one reason we would have lost it is we just didn't finish. We should have dominated this game. We left a lot of points on the field, especially in the red zone, and we needed to score more touchdowns there. So we just need to be more efficient, maybe a little bit more, maybe run the ball a little bit more down there in the red zone. But other than that, I thought the offense moved the ball with a lot of fluidity. I would give the team an A on offense because I thought they looked really good. And something to factor in there is they didn't, again, the rest factor, they haven't played in forever. So for them to perform the way they did against the Chargers defense that played a game the week before and that is super talented with their corners on the boundary and their front seven, they did a really good job. They just need to finish more, and I think a little bit had to do with the conservative play calling, and some weird play calls in the red zone there. So overall, I thought the offense had a really, really good day. All right, let's talk about the defense overall as a unit. Like I said earlier in this video, it felt like they scored more points than they did. But when you look at the scoreboard, they only let up 17 points, which is a good day on defense, especially in today's NFL and against a Chargers offense that is loaded with weapons. So I think overall, not that bad. I mean, in terms of giving up touchdowns and giving up a ton of points, not that bad. They did get bailed out because of a missed field goal. That last drive was atrocious. A lot of busted coverages in key situations that you just can't do. I mean, if out of anything else in the world, why did they have to get yards off of just free plays? I mean, that's basically free stuff. There's nobody around anybody. It's a busted zone. It's a busted man coverage. Somebody's not on the right assignment. It's just stupid stuff like that our defense needs to get better at. They play stupid. That stuff needs to be cleaned up. Hopefully when Lawrence Timmons comes back, he can clean some of that stuff up, be the vocal leader on the defense, get everybody where they need to be. Because we are missing that guy. We are missing that quarterback on the defense. People need to be accountable, and people need to be where they need to be. Especially in key scenarios on that last drive. Now, granted, they were going up against somebody that causes confusion. Philip Rivers is the master of that. He commands the line of scrimmage like probably nobody else in the NFL. I swear to God, he might have called every play throughout that entire game. I don't think they don't have an offensive coordinator as far as I'm concerned, because Philip Rivers, literally, it seemed like the man called every play from the line. So he is Peyton Manning when it comes to controlling line and calling plays. He is so hard as a defense to confuse and to disguise coverage. It's basically impossible. Philip knows what you're doing every single play. So I will give them a pass because they played Philip Rivers. But if that was against anyone else, that's not good. It's just mentally. They're just not there. They were not there in that game mentally. And a lot of that had to do with communication. Communication was just so bad. And it's just frustrating. So if they could just figure out the mental, if Lawrence can come back and just get everybody where they need to be, there's one voice on that defense. There's not 50 different guys yelling at each other pre-snap. Then I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be good. Way better than we were on Sunday. And again, most of those plays in the past game were busted coverages, man. Just clean it up. Other than busted coverages and other than bonehead plays by Byron, and not just Byron, but by other players as well, other than that, other than stupid plays, I thought the defense played really well, especially in the running game. That was a huge question mark going into this game. It's so hard to stop Melvin Gordon. And the fact that we did what we did is, we deserve a gold medal for that. That's really hard to do. He's one of the better players in the league, Melvin Gordon. So that was just, you got hats off to our defense. And they were going against, not only were they going up against the beast of a running back, but they were going up against one of the better quarterbacks in NFL history. And Philip Rivers is so hard as a defense to play against because of he's seen everything, he knows everything, and he knows how to attack everything. It's so hard. So I thought overall as a defense we played really well. Obviously only giving up 17 points to a Chargers offense that is loaded. Obviously their offensive line is a little banged up, and we didn't take advantage of it as much. Well, we did take advantage of it. We dominated in the trenches, but didn't get a ton of sacks, and that was because of Philip is God. So I thought the defense overall, other than the stupid bonehead mental stuff, it was a really good day. And the linebackers, obviously Mike Cole left a lot to be desired. Just tackling in space in general and coverage in general. And hopefully when Lawrence comes back, I couldn't help but think every time I saw Mike miss tackles in open space and really fail in the passing game. I was like, man, if we just had Neville, like that's what I kept thinking. It's like, man, like he just can't do it. Mike just can't do it. So other than all that stuff, it was a good day on defense. And again, like I said, you look up at the scoreboard and you're like, wow, only 17 points, because it felt like a whole lot more. So other than the mental aspect, Mike Cole's inability to cover Melvin Gordon, it was a good day. And then some Nate Allen, some coverages on the tight end where that was just straight up and Nate Allen just got beat, and some of that, and most of it was busted coverage. But the ability to cover the tight end, something to keep your eye on. But other than that, it was just really improved. Our defense looked better than it did last year, and it's good to see improvement from them. And I thought they overall did a really good job against a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Pro Bowl running back and a lot of good receivers and a lot of good skill position players there for the Chargers. So that is going to be it, guys. That has been, I guess we just went through the entire game, basically. I hope you guys enjoyed. I am Skagster1083, and I will see you guys in the next one.